Hey, YouTube. Happy 2025. You know what? I had filmed half this video and the internet stopped. So I'm starting all over again and welcoming you to the first of my videos for 2025. I'm Erica from In the Company of Cards. Welcome. If you're new, and if you're not new, welcome back. Thank you all who attended my New Year's Eve personal readings live. It was great. I was able to answer a lot of questions and help a lot of people, I hope. And I will be doing it again sometime in the future. I don't know when, but um, I'll let you know. In the meantime, if you'd like a personal reading from me, right under this video, you'll see the thing that says more. If you click that, that will take you to my website, my book, my deck, and let you know how to contact me if you'd like a personal reading. Booked for January, but I've got space in February if you're looking for a reading. Okay. So this will be interesting because I've never had this happen where a video sort of stopped in the middle. And because it stopped in the middle and I was reading on a question, I put the cards all back because you won't have seen me pull in real time. So I'm going to ask the question again, and let's see whether we get the same message. We'll get different cards, right? But I'm curious about the message. So the issue that I wanted to look at was this Tesla Cybertruck bombing uh, that happened in the past couple of days, and just it was in front of a Trump building in Nevada, Las Vegas, I think. And I'm just curious to see, what was that about? For whom was that a message? Now, apparently the person, whoever was in the truck is no longer in the land of the living. Um, we don't know if there were accomplices or if they left a manifesto or anything like that. Um, but let's just look at the event and see what we get. So I thought that what I would do is, and I'll use the same card that I used before the internet went down. And it will be the scythe because the scythe represents an act like that. Okay, so we're just gonna, okay, so we're looking for the scythe. Oh, it's the bottom of the deck. Ah, okay, so here it is. And that means it's the last card, right? So I'm going to put the cards that come before it here. Okay. So we have the dog, the snake, the older woman, the man, younger man, and then the scythe. So I'm going to push these up and then I'm going to pull some clarifiers just to see what kind of information I can get. Um, all right. So again, we have the dog, we have the snake, we have this older woman, we have this younger man, and we have the event itself. Okay. Um, you know, I'm going to say that they may very well have had an accomplice, I think. Uh, the clarifier for this first card is the garden. So they may have had an accomplice, they may have had accomplices, and they may be part of a larger group. Okay. Um, Second card in the original line is the snake. I mean, snake is a problem, right? Um, and it's clarified by the child. This person may have had a lot of devices and a lot of, firepower, so to speak, but I don't think that they were experienced. Um, They could have been, as could have been a suicide thing. That's true, but I don't think that they were experienced. And I think just because of the child card there, they're doing this nefarious thing, but they weren't experienced. I think it was, this is not actually um, any one particular person. This is that yin energy. So the clarifier is the mice. It was meant to intimidate, to scare, to make feel impotent the people who witnessed it and the people who are learning about it. Um, Now, when I did the reading that I couldn't show because the video went down, um, it seemed to me to be a message to Musk and 45. I mean, come on, it's a Musk thing, it's a Tesla, and it's in front of 45's building. So I don't think this was necessarily a pro 45, pro Musk um, person who did this. I mean, it could very well be the opposite. I think that they are young, which fits with that child card, young, male, of course, and also mixed up, mentally ill, not well. That's clouds. Um, the event itself created this kaboom and actually shines a light, as the sun is wont to do, shines a light on the fact that we're entering a scary, violent time. And the fact that I think it was directed at Musk and 45 is a message to them that that they are not the only ones capable of doing uh, bad acts to scare people, that they also will have done unto them bad acts that scare them. Now I can mirror this last card here, the sun, with this very first card, which is the dog. And I think that this person had help. I really do. I think they had help. So that's as much as I'm going to say about that. And I guess in the fullness of time, all will be revealed, right? Okay. Uh, the next thing I want to look at is a guy named Russell Vought, Vought, Vote, the word of the hour, right? Russell Vought is the guy whom 45 has nominated to be head of the Office of Management and Budget, which seems like a very sort of civil servicey kind of operation that most Americans wouldn't be particularly interested in, but we should be interested. For me, his claim to fame is the fact that he started this organization called the Center for Renewing America. It has an arm, which is the advocacy arm, called the American Restoration Action. And what that arm did was, among other things, essentially single-handedly, one arm, dismantled DEI initiatives because Russell Vought is of the opinion that there is no such thing as structural racism. Therefore, anything that is founded on that premise and that seeks to dismantle structural racism shouldn't exist in the first place because there's no such thing. That is his opinion. He is also, all about uh, bringing to power, in a governmental sense, Christian nationalism. So, Christian nationalism is Jesus not with the cross and with fishes and loaves to feed people, but Jesus in camos carrying an Uzi, right? That they've sort of militarized Jesus. And of course, he is a big um, player in Project 2025. So, what I'd just like to know is, will Russell Vought be confirmed for the Office of Management and Budget? Remember, he's the guy who will decide what gets funded and what doesn't get funded. And we've already seen his bent, right? His intention, his predilection, and it is anti uh, Black people, other people of color, women, the elderly, and the disabled. So, Americans, pay attention, pay attention. Let's look and see what his trajectory will be. I will use, um, he's not old, but he's not young either. I'll use, you know what I'll use for him? The bear. Yeah, we'll use the bear and let's see what's around him, whether it looks like he'll be confirmed or, what his trajectory will be. Looking for the bear that will stand for Russell Vought, who is 45's nominee to be the head of the Office of Management and Budget. So there he is. Okay. So here we are. We have the fox, the young man. There's Vought, government, the tower, and then the bouquet. Yes, he will be confirmed. So, watch this space, watch other spaces, because he will be quite the mover and shaker in dismantling all kinds of programs and initiatives uh, that should not be dismantled. He will be doing the bidding of Project 2025. So again, pay attention, because unfortunately, I think he'll be confirmed. Okay. Speaking of confirmed, I want to take a last look at Mike Johnson. Tomorrow is the day. So if you didn't get your popcorn already, get it today. Um, I would say popcorn and wine, but I'm doing dry January, so you do you. But tomorrow is the day when the House will vote on its speaker. Now, if you recall, the last time we went through this, it took like 4 days, and I don't even know how many ballots. Um, and before Johnson was elected, and whatever that guy's name was supplanted. So, on the one hand, 45 has uh, supported, put his hat in the ring to support Johnson's nomination. Um, but it's not so much that he likes Johnson. I suspect he'd like someone more Trumpy to be the speaker, of course. Remember that the argument that the MAGA people make against Johnson, and he is one of them, is that he is too conciliatory towards the Democrats. I haven't seen that, but that's what they say. Now, I suspect, once you are speaker, you understand that the job is to get your agenda done, right? So the only way you can get things done is to um, have some kind of a relationship with the other side. So that's what Johnson's tried to do. Johnson's not a good guy, but he has tried to do that. Um, and the thing is, the reason that 45 would have thrown his support to Johnson, even though the support does feel tepid to me, is a couple of things. Again, like I said, nothing can move forward without a speaker. What do you mean by nothing? Well, the president can't be, the election cannot be certified without there being a speaker in place. So, it may take a few ballots because there are people who are campaigning against Mike Johnson. We know that a couple of other names we will probably see tomorrow uh, in the early voting, and those would be Byron Donald, that black guy that's a bootlicker for 45, him, and wrestling coach Jim Jordan. Now, neither of those guys would be terrific as speaker from our perspective, but those are the names that are being floated there. Um, I know Marjorie Taylor Greene has it out for Mike Johnson. Uh, and Mike Johnson does not have a huge margin to work with. He can't lose uh, 2 votes. I mean, if he loses 2 votes, I think he's cooked. Definitely, if he loses 3, we know there's one for sure that says they won't vote for him. If 2 more follow suit, he's cooked. Now, again, this can go on and on and on. Last time around, there were, I don't even know how many ballots there were, 15, something like that. It was a lot. So let's look at Mike Johnson again. I will use the young man for him because he is not old. And let's see how things will go for him in the House vote tomorrow for Speaker. Oh, and that card's on the bottom of the deck. Crazy, right? Okay, here we go. So this is Mike Johnson. He's the last card. Okay. So we have the book, we have clouds, we have the ship, a heart, and Mike Johnson. Here's what I think, and I think this is the same thing I said the last time I looked at this. I think that it will take the first couple of votes. He will not win the number that he needs to win. So, this could just be sort of a pro forma thing, people wanting to go on record, putting him on notice that he better watch his P's and Q's, and so they're not going to vote for him in the first ballot. But look what's in the center. What's in the center is the ship. And you would think that higher on the Maslow's hierarchy of needs for the Republicans, although sticking it to Johnson is high, getting 45 into the Resolute behind the Resolute desk is higher. I mean, it's more important. I'm just going to say that it's more important. So maybe it's lower on the hierarchy of needs. They need to get 45 in, right? So I think that because of that, um, Mike Johnson will again be speaker. He will not get any Democratic votes. The Democrats have said they're all, to a man and a woman, going to vote for Hakeem Jeffries, who's the Democrat. That nobody will throw him a lifeline from our side. But we'll see how many Republicans fall into line. I don't think it'll happen on the first ballot. I don't even think it'll happen on the second ballot. But I think in the end, time is wasting, and they have to certify on the 6th, which is 3 days after the 3rd. So I think that after their little show of might, Johnson will be the speaker. Okay. Um, Another thing I wanted to look at is this TikTok ban. Now, I've looked at it before, and we know that 45 had a brief sent to the Supreme Court. Basically, the brief said, listen, I am the great negotiator. Didn't you see The Apprentice? I mean, I make deals. I'm a deal maker. That's what I am. So all I'm asking you to do, Supreme Court, is hold off a decision on the TikTok ban until after I am inaugurated. And I mean, if I'm going to be inaugurated on the 20th and the ban was supposed to be imposed on the 19th, you know, what's 24 hours? I can get this deal done like that. Well, here's the thing. We've seen the brief now, and the brief is specious. It's full of just what I said, um, compliments and blandishments, not to the court, but about 45. You know, I'm the deal maker. I'm the one. Only I can fix it. You know, um, it's not a scholarly argument. It's not rooted or grounded in the law. Not only that, it is not apparently within the power of the Supreme Court to to stay that date. That's a date that was arrived at by Congress, at which point TikTok can't it will not be a thing. I think it can still it exists, but you can have an account, but Google will not be allowed to administer it, right? So I don't know. It's like having a toy with no batteries in it. That's the best analogy I can make. And Congress came up with that January date. It is not the purview of the court to stay that date, to hold off till 45 gets behind the Resolute desk. It's not a thing. It's like as if he said, I know Santa Claus came on the 24th, but I'd really like him to come again on the 5th of January. Well, the court can't decide that, and Santa Claus is asleep for the year, so it's not going to happen. But we'll see because so many people seem to be cowed by 45. I think that the court has its own ego that it wants to protect. So did you see that orb that just went by? Um, I think let's look at this TikTok ban and just see what the court will do relative to 45's request that the court allowed the January 19th date to come and go and not do anything. Okay, so I'm going to use stars, and that'll stand for TikTok. So we're looking for stars, and we want to know whether that ban will be upheld or whether they will listen to 45 and delay it, which legally they can't do. Okay. All right. Interesting. Clouds, child, star, sun, coffin. I don't even need to draw clarifiers on this. So, you know, hoping to obfuscate, confuse, muddy the waters, right? 45 has had his lawyer argue this really, I mean, juvenile, poorly thought out, ill-considered brief about TikTok. But just as day follows night, is that Shakespeare? I think so. Just as day follows night, um, you know, it, that date will be upheld. That date will be upheld. TikTok, as we know it and can access it, will be not happening. Now, what this means again is that Google cannot be the facilitator of it. I mean, maybe somebody else can, but since it was not sold in the way that we asked China to do, that date is a date certain, the 19th, that there will be that TikTok ban. So, I read on this before and I thought that the court would say to themselves, oh, this gives us a lifeline because we really don't want to be the one to decide this. Well, the energy, remember I always say energy is mutable. The energy has shifted. And the reason is that, again, if 45 had given had lawyers had given an argument that was not so facile and irrelevant, well, then maybe it would have been a different story. But I think that the court will be annoyed, frankly, by this attempt of Trump to stick his big foot in the mess when he's not even president, for God's sake, yet. Hopefully never, but I'm just saying. And I think they will be even more disposed to say, hey, Congress has spoken. Congress gave that date certain of January 19th. And so there you go. That's it for TikTok. So that's what I think. You see how things can shift? Um, and I think that the nature of that brief was just insulting even to the court. And so they're going to put 45 in his place and say, yeah, no, we're not doing that. Okay. Uh, the last thing that I want to look at, you may be surprised, but maybe not. People have asked me to read on this, and I've forgotten actually. It's not that I was avoiding it. There's other things to talk about, but I think it's worth bringing up now, which is this Clark County, Nevada ballot issue. So apparently there is irrefutable proof that that 45, at least in Nevada, benefited from a vote flipping algorithm, right? It served to act to the detriment of Harris, to the benefit of 45. Well, that's vote tampering. And there's algorithmic proof that votes were tampered with in favor of 45. So, a lot of readers have been hanging their hats on that issue when they've given their predictions that 45 will not be inaugurated, that it will be Harris. So, there's a couple of reasons why he would not be inaugurated on the 20th. One could be that. The other could be the speakership issue, which hangs in the balance. So I just want to know, will this discovery, right, of this vote flipping algorithm that served to help 45, will that affect the outcome of the election such that 45 is not inaugurated on the 20th? So I'm going to use the letter, and that will stand for these votes that were flipped, these numbers that were switched around, and let's just see what the energy is around that. Okay. Remember, we're looking for the letter. Okay, here we go. Right? I'm going to have to pull more cards, but I'll show you first what our original cards are. So we have the coffin, the young woman. They stand for the flip votes and that algorithm. Uh, the older man and the younger man. What I'm asking is, will this have any effect on what happens on January 20th? So I'm going to pull a couple of clarifiers. Each of the cards. Well, you know what? I normally pull three, so I'm going to pull three for each of the cards. Hmm, okay. All right. So the coffin. You know how I always say when the line starts with the cross, the question may very well be a non-starter. You might want to ask something different. Well, I almost felt like that here. Coffins are endings, that's true. Um, but they're also the card of transformation. The thing is, the clarifiers are the anchor, the whip, and the garden. So this is making me think that, so here, we have this issue with these votes that could be transformative if it got taken anywhere, right? But it looks stuck. In other words, you know, day late and a dollar short. The energy is too stuck uh, in 45's favor in terms of what happens on January 20th. It doesn't mean that the argument will stop. In fact, something could happen after the fact because this is not a dead issue with the whip. People are still going to be going back and forth about this. The public will demand that. Uh, I mean, if he cheated to the point where Harris was denied her rightful place, that's going to be a problem. So this will not be a dead issue. Now, here's the thing though. We have this young woman energy. We have the cross, the bouquet, and the rider. This is not Harris. This just feels very passive to me on the part of anybody who could make a really big stink about what happened. Cross is endings, painful. Painful as it is, they cheated, they rigged the vote, etc. But to the victor goes the prize. All right. We're in the center. This stands for the vote that was rigged. And we have Clover, Key, and Stork. And I mean, as much as I'd like to read them positively, because these are all positive cards, positive for which side is the question. I'm feeling, it looks to me like positive for the rigged side. They got lucky. They figured out the answer, what they needed to do to get the votes flipped, so that their fortunes changed for the better, for the better. Now, I again remember what I said with this whip here. The story is not over. I mean, somebody could technically be impeached and thrown out of office if all of the evidence is amassed and gathered to the extent that we say, wait, he's not supposed to be there. So that can even happen once he's there. So here's 45. We have the fish, we have the crossroads, and the mice. He is really scared that what I just said will happen. That, they discovered what happened in Nevada. Will they discover that in other places? Because again, it's not finished, it's not over. Will they discover that in other places? And this is his emotions, but it's also, will they be able to see what money can buy, which is a rigged election? He's terrified because he's wondering, could my fortunes change? Could I be kicked out of office? Could I be prevented from taking office in the first place? So at least get some satisfaction in knowing that he's quaking in his boots. Now, this is his friend, Elon. And a lot of times, this is my card for Elon. I understand, so don't come at me, that Elon is not a young man. I get that. I understand. He's a man in his 50s. I get it. He does have foolhardy, arrogant um, energy that makes him think he is impervious. in the way that young people do, right? You know, you tell them don't drink, wear your seatbelt, and they say, "Oh, I'm never going, nothing's bad's going to ever happen to me," because they don't think they're going to get wrapped around a tree in the middle of the night. That's Elon. Uh, Now, stars popped up. Elon has done his thing, entertainment purposes only, right? From satellites, Starlink. That's how the numbers got rigged. Ostensibly, entertainment purposes only. So this is his little plot that he devised. Um, and the thing is, what an unsatisfactory end to this question. Whether or not the scales of justice are balanced remains up in the air because there's still a lot that we don't know about how he did what he did. And I can mirror two cards. I can mirror this last card with this first card, you know. So, yeah, 45 will live in fear, but I also think there could come a time when people say, okay, you know what? Forget about that. 2024 is over. Let's start focusing on the present and also on 2026, the midterms. So they may have gotten away with it, is what I'm saying. I still see 45 being inaugurated. I hope I am wrong. I would be thrilled to be wrong. Um, but I don't think there's time. Again, things can happen retroactively. If we see what happened in Nevada, like I said, happened in any number of other states, well, that's it. That's a case and grounds for impeachment, I'm sure, and removal from office. So, feel free to hold out hope for that. I certainly will. But in terms of January 20th, I just think you should go look and see what's on TV that day. It's not the inauguration because you want to have your TV on, but you don't want to have it dialed to that station because you want the Nielsen people who do the ratings to know that nobody's watching this guy get inaugurated. So that's what I see. Thank you so much, and I will see you again soon. Take care.